Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Oh, welcome back, everybody. Lots of us have celebrations in our lives. You know, you plan an event, you want it to go great, be it a wedding, corporate event, whatever it might be. A lot of times there's so many details that it's almost not fun anymore doing it yourself. That's why you hire somebody. But one of the most important things with an event, many times, most events involve beverage. We're going to focus on the beverage aspect today and look at it from a different lens. Somebody that helps people all the time, brings the party. Event planners. That's actually the name of the company. Eugenia Clark is back with us. She's the woman behind it all. How are you doing today?
I am great, Steve. Thank you so much for having us back. So we're Bring the Party Event Services, and we are best described as like an event planner on steroids, because not only do we help with the whole planning aspect, but we actually have a lot of services in-house. So we help to actually execute the event as well. By having those services in-house, it gives us much more flexibility. We are not guarded by four walls. We are not guarded by, what the industry has done to serve customers in the past. We have developed a whole new way, a whole new approach, and no one benefits more from it than our customers. And any of them will tell you, anytime they've ever had a party at their home, at a business, at an offsite location, I'm their first call every single time. And there's a reason for it, lots of reasons for it. The main reason is kind of how we all started, right? We kind of went over this last week a little bit. Where did you come from? How did you come up with this idea? What drove you to it? And, coming from the restaurant industry, where I actually used to help open and run banquet halls, I really felt like, hey, I am bound by what this restaurant and this building can do for our customers. So I want to go out there and I want to do more and do better. And that's kind of where it got us to start. But how it got us to where we are is having that serving heart, being able to identify that serving heart in each one of our staff members. And then, over time, build up the entire team and the entire company together with that serving heart at the heart of everything, is serving our customers 100% each and every step of the way.
You're a stickler for detail. It's obvious.
It's obvious. Yeah. So one of the services, every event has to have basic items: food, beverage, and shelter. And that every event, if you have food, you have beverage, you don't have to have a timeline, except, not necessarily even when the guests arrive. Guests can come anytime if you have an open house for them. Whatever it might be, as long as you have food, as long as you have beverages, guests will come.
Sure.
And they'll be happy. So one of the ways that we've kind of broken the mold is with our beverage service. We do offer bar service in-house, and I'm sorry, I have to move you around a little bit, so I apologize if it kind of gets green.
Oh, we can see everything, and for those listening, we'll just describe what's going on here.
Yeah. So this is our standard bar setup. So when we come to your home or to your backyard or to your corporate event, this is what we bring. And this is a standard bar, 6 feet in length and about 4.5 feet tall. And each one of your bartenders will have the following items: an ice bucket to serve from. This is something that you have no idea how much it just makes a difference for bartenders to have a way to scoop ice and put it in a cup that is clean, sanitary. It's an actual cooler, so it keeps the ice. I've seen a lot of caterers use like bus pans or different, ice buckets and things like that. This is absolutely the best thing that we've ever found to actually help bartenders work in a remote space. They'll also have all the tools of the trade. And the way we approach the bar service is
We actually create a menu. We work with our guests to create the menu based on their tastes, their wants, their guest preferences. And then we provide to them a list with quantities of every single thing that we need to have on site to not just fulfill that menu, but allow guests to pick items that are not featured on that menu.
Fantastic. I have to tell you, I can't, how many restaurants I've been to where they don't have a drink menu. So there are some things, your go-tos, and, I'm singling out restaurants in general, but it's still about the experience. How many I've gone to, they don't have a drink menu. There's a few things I like to gravitate to. Sometimes it changes, over the years or whatever. But I like to try something different. But I never know what they have, what they can make, suggestions. This is fantastic. And it's all planned out. You have all the ingredients. It's all good to go. Way to go. That's great.
Well, not only does it change the guest experience, right? It changes the host experience. The host being, sometimes they're just like, I want a bar. I want to give my guest a feeling of an open bar experience. I don't want them to be limited. So they're like, oh, we don't want a menu. Well, okay, that's quite all right. How much are you willing to spend on all of the alcohol to offer an open bar? Because when you really think of an open bar and to actually give an open bar unlimited options, you're spending $50,000 on alcohol. Only alcohol. That doesn't even include the mixers. So what we do is we say, let's put that into perspective. Let's say you actually have a menu we have here an old fashioned. So it's got bourbon in it. Manhattan, it's got scotch in it. Cucumber mint vodka soda. Let me tell you, that's amazing. So it's got vodka in it. A mojito, so it's got rum in it. And then an espresso martini along with some beers and wines. Somebody could come up and say, can I have a vodka soda? I don't want the cucumber mint. Okay, here's all of the sodas that we offer. Someone's like, oh, I don't really like mojito, but I like rum. Can I have a rum and Coke? Sure. Now all of the guests feel like they're having that full bar experience, but we've just limited your purchasing to, instead of $50,000 on alcohol, $2.
Wow. I never thought of it in how this is also benefiting the host because there's less stress. Now we know everything's about expectations. So for the guests, we've set the expectations. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever number of drinks here that we're serving today. Of course, you can get beer and wine, whatever. Then there's no worrying. It's the way it should be.
Exactly. It keeps it simple. It keeps the line moving. But the other way that we've kind of broken the mold on that. So that's kind of like the bar service. That's alcohol service. Not every event includes alcohol service. And even companies out there that do provide alcohol service don't do it to this level, to where everything we do is not only centered around serving your guests, it's also centered around serving you, your budget, and is backed by, I'd say, hundreds of years of experience, from combined experience from all of our staff and bartenders that actually know, what do you need? What don't you need? So, bartenders don't walk in with a bunch of stuff you don't need. They don't spend hours unloading and packing up and repacking because they know what they need. Everything that they need to serve your guests to the highest level can fit inside their ice bucket. They walk in with all of their tools and trade right here, including, their garnish tray, all of their tools of the trade, their sanitizer bucket, their mats, everything. One piece of equipment built to serve.
Based on all of this, in your experience, Eugenia, what would you say this summer, is the top 3 most popular drinks, most requested by either the host or the guest?
Honestly, the most popular drink is probably vodka soda. It's simple. But when we go into signature drinks, we say, your guests are going to have a vodka soda. So let's design a drink that's cool, refreshing, and different that's based on that vodka soda. So we do have the cucumber mint is very popular. That's one of our signature drinks.
Sure.
And we actually take the cucumber and the mint and we saturate it and soak it overnight before we bring it on site.
Ooh.
So it's almost like a mush. Old fashions and
are having a comeback, I might add. I mean, that goes back to like the 60s. The old fashioned was like the drink. Now it's back. Amazing.
I really didn't know that. Yeah, old fashioned.
Oh yeah, man. That's like one of the oldest drinks. That just because it's called an old fashioned. It's been around. It has to go back to the 50s at least.
Well, old time craft cocktails as a whole are coming back.
Sure.
The paper plane, the old fashioned, the mules.
Yes.
So, Moscow Mule is probably most well known, but you can make a mule out of anything. As long as you have ginger beer, lime, and mint, you can do it with tequila. You could do it with vodka. You could do it with bourbon. You could do it with anything. So yeah, those are probably the most popular, just those basic ones. And then we just design a menu based around what you like and what you think your guests are going to like.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the other way that we've kind of broken things up is not all events have alcohol beverages. A lot of them have non-alcoholic beverages and exclusively, especially when you're talking about birthday parties, milestone events, corporate events. They don't always have alcohol depending on what type of event it is. So one of the ways that we've kind of broken the mold is allow a self-serve station. So we build this station, we come on site, we actually have somebody stay and maintain it. But this particular station can serve up to 100 people. And it's I don't know how well you can see this, but the way it's designed, just because my lighting is bad in here.
No, we can see.
Yeah. So it starts low. Kids can reach the water, the juice boxes, the sodas. It's down low, but adults can easily do it as well. And then we have the higher items. You could put water, iced tea, lemonade. These are glass, beautiful containers, and they hold 5 gallons. So if you think about that, you get a glass of water, you can serve 400 waters from just this one container filled up just once. So it's maybe not 400, but at least 100. And then, you have your whole service area. You can add ice, you could put more glassware, you could put different drinks, some decor out here, and guests can come up and they can help themselves easily, quickly. It's beautiful, it's simple, it's quick, and something that almost no one in the Chicagoland area will provide. They don't, the approach in the past is if we're doing a self-service area, like, why are we there? You're not getting any service out of it. Your guests aren't getting any service out of it. Why? That's not something that goes against every single thing, every caterer, the thought process. But sometimes we'll do this in combination with the bar service.
Sure. It's also, some people like to have an alcoholic beverage, then water, or non-alcoholic, then one, half and half, but then you don't want to wait on a line to just get, water, juice, whatever it might be. So there's definitely a place for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't tell you personally how many times I've been at a wedding, especially in Chicagoland. It's hot, you're outside, and you're like, oh, I wish I could just go and get a water myself. Or I wish, there's a water station over there, but I'd like just a soda. Now I have to wait in this long line where everyone doesn't know what they want for alcohol and, listen to them talk to the bartender to figure it out in order for me just to get a soda.
Oh, yeah. I want to share with you, to your point, I was at a concert venue 2 weeks ago, outdoors. It was warm. I had a beer. It's all good. Had to wait online. Understandable. But then I just wanted a water. There were none available unless you waited on I'm talking, not exaggeration, 30 people online waiting for beverages. Many of them also water. Just wanted a water. It's like, so making it accessible is just, it shows that you care about your guests.
Exactly. And I know from experience that many caterers would not allow this because they're like, oh, we waste so much soda. Now we have to pay somebody to walk around and pick up 30 empty sodas, 30 half empty sodas. We have to pay somebody to fill up water and pick up all of those, cups. We do use biodegradable cups. We do have paper cup options as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the level of service is far and beyond. It surpasses anything else out there. And it's a different concept altogether.
This comes with the territory, having to clean up, doesn't it?
And of course, that is always, it's something that our staff does.
Yeah.
If your event isn't clean, it doesn't feel good to your guests. So just having someone walking around, picking up glassware, emptying out the garbage, picking up abandoned plates, where even if it's paper plates and there's garbage cans around, not all of your guests are going to make it over to the garbage can to throw their plate out themselves. So having somebody there whose sole focus is just to maintain the overall event cleanliness, above and beyond the servers that are going to bring the plates out, above and beyond the servers that are going to pass those appetizers. Their main focus, their only job is to ensure the overall cleanliness of the event. Check on the bathrooms, wipe down the counters, whatever it might be. That is something that we will not do an event unless you're willing to put that cost into it.
The last time we got together, we talked about how I saw on your website the transparency. If you want to hire, let's say, a server, bartender, you get very specific and it's fully transparent. Here's what the cost is. If you want 2 bartenders, maybe you're having a certain number of guests and you want to kind of move things along, this is what it's going to cost you. There's no smoke and mirrors. Which I love that, because it almost makes it feel like the client has some control over what's going on. When it comes to the food aspect, I know we're talking beverage here, the food aspect, is it the same kind of a la carte situation if somebody wants to hire more people or just look at it in a different way?
Well, we are definitely going to do a segment on food next week. That's going to be our overall topic. But I love that you touched on it this week, because the food and beverage goes together. These are essential for every single event. There was a lot of questions in there, so I'm going to kind of unpack it all together. As far as like the customer control, we have one rule when it comes to serving our customers, and that is that we will not sacrifice service to meet budgetary demands. Now, does that mean that other than that, the customer has full control over what they're willing to spend and what services they want to book, what elements they want to incorporate in, how they want to reach that budgetary demand? Like we had kind of touched on last week, if they have 7 craft cocktails, even though they only have 50 guests, it's likely they're going to need at least 1.5 bartenders. But if they have 1 craft cocktail and mostly simply mixed drinks, then 1 bartender can easily fulfill 50 guests. Now, so there's all these different ways to accommodate their budgetary demands while still giving their guests the highest level of service. Does the guest at the end of the day know that you wanted to offer 7 craft cocktails and they only really get to choose 1 or 2? No, they're probably happy with the 1 or 2, especially when they don't have to wait in line for a bunch of guests to order craft cocktails because they just want to watch. So
it's interesting how there is formulas here that, we as regular people, we don't know. If I tell you, all right, I'm going to have 72 guests and I'm thinking about this in terms of the menu and beverages right away, I'm sure you know how many people it's going to require, what we're looking at here overall. That's where the expertise comes in. If you don't hire an event planner, honestly, I don't know how you would do it. Like how you pull that off without knowing, the intricate details of what it takes to go into it.
Well, every event planner's approach is a little different. for those types of elements and items, they mostly just depend on their caterer, the caterer that you chose. Where we offer a lot of these services in-house, and a lot of caterers these days do offer like drop-off catering, where they'll just provide the food, they'll cook it, they'll prepare it, and they'll drop it off. So you're still getting the highest level of quality, but you're able to break that mold that all caterers just kind of follow a formula. Funny that you use that term. I love it. They say, okay, if you have this many guests and this many food items, this is how many staff you need. And the staff is going to show up at this time and leave at this time. That doesn't always account for all of your event needs. That's just the food service. What about the beverage service? What about the cleanup? What about the setup and the breakdown? What about the cleanup after the fact? Let's say the caterer is providing all of the food, like the main meal and appetizers, but what about the dessert? Let's say you're getting the cake and the cupcakes or whatever from a nearby bakery. Who's going to serve that? Who's going to clean it up? That's where having everything under one umbrella really gives you the flexibility and the control. And sometimes the caterer is going to say, all right, well, we're going to provide all the food and the food service, and we'll provide everything else. We'll do the dessert service. We'll do the beverage service. We'll do the setup and the breakdown. We don't have to do the food service, especially with some specialty items that caterers offer. They want to be the ones to serve it, set it up, and break it down themselves. You have that flexibility, but that doesn't mean you're glued to that, and that's your only option. So we offer flexibility and options.
We have about 30 seconds left. Final thoughts. What do you want people to know about the beverages at their event?
The beverages. The sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want as long as you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, we're going to work with you to get to the closest thing to that point.
Which is another great point of having an event planner like yourself, because you know how to finesse it to make that all happen. Eugenia, I know that you serve Arlington Heights, Illinois, and surrounding areas. What's the best way to reach you? Is it just reach out on to your website?
Actually, we serve the greater Chicagoland area. So
Gotcha.
Anywhere from Northwest Indiana to Milwaukee, and as far west as Rockford. So we serve the greater Chicagoland area, and we do have multiple locations to help service those areas. And we pull staff from every area in the greater Chicagoland area. So we oftentimes have staff available for your needs as well that are local to you. The best way to get in contact us is to give us a call at 847-282-0095. You can also find us on the web at bringthepartyes.com. That's bring the party, E for event, S for services.com.
Thank you so much for today. Thank you for the literally the behind the scenes look at beverages with an event and how to do it effectively. And looking forward to digging into food next time we get together.
I love it. Thank you again for all of your help and your time. And we'll talk again soon.
We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education
And to finish what I started to get my diploma.
just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.